Welcome to the Exposer. So guys, I don't know if you lot have seen it, but Word on the Curb, a known YouTube channel, basically did a show about Spac Nation. Again, most of the people on it have never been to Spac, so it's basically opinions from what they've seen online. So I'll just give a small little review about basically their reaction to Spac, and I will also put the link to the full video in the description. So the full video for Word on the Curb will be in the description.
There's a lot of fraudulent stuff going on, stuff like that. And now, as of recent, it's become a scandal. So all of these pastors are getting exposed, all of these prominent members are getting exposed, saying that they've been doing all of this bad stuff.
Welcome to the Exposer.
And now everyone is starting to realise that this Spac Nation thing was just a scam.
Their families are being offered safe.
Why is your church on the news? Is your church ever been on the news? No one's church has never been on the news, so red flag straight away.
It really upsets me because I grew up in a Christian home, Pentecostal household, and it just has a bad reflection of the church. This just, to me, seems like, I'm going to say a cult.
When I first saw Hope Dealers, I was thinking, cool, innit? These youths are dressed nice, whatever, boom, rentals, cool. Then I clocked there's a whole church full of these youths, innit? So I'm saying, so that's what's drawing in the youths.
Yeah.
That's not good. Am I right or wrong? That's what Spac Nation, that's how they draw youths in.
That's the characteristic of a cult. It's very brainwashy. They use a lot of persuasive language. There's a lot of talk about what you're going to gain from it. And these are vulnerable people who have been caught up in crime, who are now putting their trust in someone. They finally believe in something and they're being exploited. How sick in the head do you have to be to do that to people?
Also, what I find really weird about Spac Nation is the way they ordain pastors so fucking quickly.
Everyone's a pastor.
That's weird to me. Like when I was in the church and I went to get baptized, they gave me an interview. They asked me like, why do you want to get baptized? The first time I done it, they told me I wasn't ready. How can you be 23 and be a pastor? That doesn't make no sense to me. How? Surely you must, I don't get it. Like a pastor is supposed to be someone that you look up to.
There's a pastor that's like 19 here, bruv. I'm telling you, yeah, listen, there's no 19-year-old that's gonna tell me about God, yeah? Listen, I've lived a longer life than you, big man, yeah? Go through your puberty in peace, innit?
I know a couple of youths that are like youth pastors. Maybe not as, I hear what you're saying. Not, these lot got about 12 men a day becoming pastors.
Like every day on the gram I used to see, I've become a pastor.
I feel like these people, I don't even know how they could have protected themselves from this because they just didn't know better.
Anytime I spoke to like a friend of a friend that was involved in Spac or something, like people, it's like they distance man, like
it's like
man's been conditioned to do something. I found it so weird.
It's like a brainwashing. Do you get me? Like I've had friends that's gone into it, and it's like I'll go there now. I'm sorry, I'll be speaking to them normally, and then next week, oh yeah, join Spac. Oh yeah, I'm going to move into this crib. Are you stupid, bro? Would you do that? Would you do that in any circumstance in real life?
No.
No, exactly. Unless it was an emergency.
All living in yards together. They're all beating. They're all smoking weed together. You can't put bare people in their early 20s together, opposite sex, one yard. It's drawing them in with things that ain't good. Fair enough, you can't say money is bad, but if I'm saying come to church, yeah? I'm a normal man, and I'm saying come to church. You're like, nah, I don't, that's dead. Then I come to you in lubes and chains and everything, and I say, yeah, come to church. Then I say, yeah, I'm coming. Then I'm not coming for the church. What team be on? So again, so if I'm coming up to you looking like a fraudster, I rolled you, a you in a belly, come to my church. Me, a person with sense, is saying, my brother, what go on in your church?
Yeah, but that's because of what we've been told church is supposed to be like. The ones that we just seen in that video or not.
Let's see this. Let's talk about this one. Who's seen this video? Pastor Toby, he's there, he's got the mic in his hand. Now, come and show your drip.
Oh my God, this drip is drippy. Look at this drip. Show your drip, don't worry, show yours.
Drippy, 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 drippy. And everyone's there showing their shoe.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
What do you mean there's nothing wrong with that?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So me in the background can't go up there because my shoe ain't good enough. So what, Christ don't know me because I ain't got the lubes?
No,
that's what it promotes. But that's what it promotes. It promotes. If you can't come up here and do drippy with us, you're not levels. That's not what church is about. It's as simple as that. That's what the roads is about. There's youths in the background like, rah, I got an M.
I don't think there's anything wrong with thinking outside of the box and thinking how you're going to make people come to Christ.
The box.
Wonder at what level of manipulation to religion you have to do.
I think it's the fact that, like, I feel like these young people that they've brought into their cult, a cult is what I like to call it, were obviously vulnerable in the beginning, but at the same time, they had something in the back of their mind that was like, yeah, this is dodgy, but because they're glorifying it in the name of Christ, you know, they were going to probably think, yeah, my parents are going to be happy I'm going to church. My parents are going to be happy I'm doing this. But at the same time, you're looking at these pastors driving amazing cars and you're thinking, yeah, I want to be like that when I'm older.
If you put as much energy into finessing the brothers,
so why don't you just do it in a legitimate cause?
If they put that energy into, I don't know, taking the youths off the road, like, because they happily, because it's got something to do with peace, the youths will happily go out and catch the souls and all them things. They will happily go and do that. But why don't you do that for the main reason, which is to bring them into the church to, do you get me?
If someone talks about Christianity or any other religion and then mentions money, give me money, or you'll make a lot of money, just turn around and walk in opposite direction for as long as you can. That is an omen of something that isn't right.
But if you don't have positive people in your life who are like telling you what's right and what's wrong, like if I went home and I told my mom, this guy is telling me this, my mom is like really on top of my finances, she would have been like, no, that sounds crazy, don't do it. But they probably had nobody to consult with to like see if it was a bad idea.
You got a brain.
But sometimes you just don't. She said she never dealt with any of that stuff.
Listen, I don't care what you say.
I sympathize her.
None of us know what it's like to have been in that church. We don't know what was going on. So it's really easy for us to sit here as an outsider and go, yeah, but obviously you wouldn't do that.
I feel like if this happened in some like deep bit of, you know, Timbuktu and where there's not that many people, but it's London or it's like,
I know.
It's here.
We need to speak out. Do you know what it is? This is what black people, our issue is. When black people do something fuck up, we don't want to tarnish them. Like it's our cousins. I don't know them fucking youth there. I could call them idiot, any black youth from anywhere idiot. It's got nothing to do with me. That's why all these fucked up people in our community can get away with what they get away with, because we're thinking, nah, black man, oh no, they're only calling him a rapist and rare taker. It's the white man trying to destroy him. No, there's idiots every corner of the planet. Yeah? So that's what we have to understand. Sometimes, yes, our black brothers and rare you could do stupidness, and this is one of them things. It's stupidness.
First of all, huge shout out to Word on the Curb, because any form of talking about Spac Nation is raising awareness. So some people that may have watched that will probably want to research and find out what's really happening in that church. So what I can tell you guys is, remember I said we still have people who still attend Spac. And the news that I got today is every video that's been put out against them is hurting them. It's affecting them in terms of numbers, and it's affecting them in terms of reputation. So they don't like the exposing going on. It's really bothering them. So now having other YouTube platforms or social media platforms who are talking about Spac Nation is really, really hurting them. And so back to this show, I feel like the lady at the beginning knows a lot, and she can tell straight away that Spac Nation is a cult. It's operated like a cult. And you have also the two men, Den and Renz, I believe. These two guys have inside knowledge, because they mentioned they got people who went to Spac, and some of the things they said clarifies everything that's been said about Spac. When you have a friend or someone that's close to you that goes to Spac Nation, if you don't come to Spac, they automatically distance themselves for you, which is obviously a sign of a cult. And one of them also mentioned, like, have you ever seen your church on the news? Like, being in London, it's hard to find a church going on the news like that. And if your church is on the news, then you know that there's definitely a lot of things that's wrong with that church. You're not going to go on the news for no reason. We do know Spac went on the news originally because the media was praising them for the work they were doing to the youth. But now we're seeing them on the news for the wrong reasons. So the truth has basically come to light. And if you watch the videos that I put out of PTs exposing, then you can understand from episode 1 to 6 how Spac Nation used social media and everything to basically organize this cult. So yeah, so those guys know a few inside knowledge about Spac. But the most important part of this whole show was the guy Lippy. What he said at the end of the video is very important, because it is true in our community we don't like to raise awareness when someone from our race has done something bad because we want to protect them. And there's a lot of times where we should protect them if they're doing the right things. But when someone is doing the wrong things, regardless of their race, we need to raise awareness on it, especially when it's something that's destroying our community and it's making our community look like we don't know what we're doing. It's making our community look like we can't unite. So when you have an organization who's basically making every single member under them have bad credit just for their own gain, that's disgusting. We need to speak out on it. So I'm happy he said that, because they have a lot of people following them also. So them speaking about Spac Nation and telling people that you need to speak up is important, because that's what we need. I feel like there's not enough known people speaking about Spac Nation. There's a few people on social media talking about it, and obviously there's a lot of people on Twitter that are talking about Spac Nation. But we need more personalities, people who are known, so that their message can be seen by a lot more people. Because this is why things are a bit slow when it comes down to taking out this organisation. But I understand also that it's a very serious case, and I'm sure the authorities are trying to get the whole organisation shut down, not individual members, because that's probably what they're doing. I'm assuming that's why it's taking them a long time. But yeah, so use respect to Word on the Curbs, because things like this is important. Whether you've been to Spac or you haven't been to Spac, speaking out is what we need to do right now. We need to save the youth, and we need to save a lot of the people who are going through a lot under this organisation. And one of the girls even said, like, you have to understand there's an emotional side to it. Some people were at a vulnerable stage, and then at the same time, some members have not been in the same situation as them. Like, a lot of the people in our team, some were strong enough to leave straight away, because I saw that this church was just doing the most horrible things. But there's also some members who are very vulnerable and were in a vulnerable situation when they joined Spac. So Spac took advantage of them, and some of them are still there. So it's really important to understand that everybody is different. So it's easy to judge another by saying, how could you be foolish enough to be even listen to this? But the reality is they do target vulnerable members. So that's why there's a lot of members that are still there also. So we need to continue to raise an awareness and letting everybody know we need to take down this organisation. We need to keep fighting every single day.